But he's not an ignorant fool like most of us. He actually started to inquire, well, where's my source? What's my source? Most of us, human beings don't even inquire. We're like animals, we don't even inquire. Like, well, duh, maybe I have a source. So Brahma inquired about his source. And he felt this lotus flower. So he crawled down the stem of the lotus flower all the way down to the bottom of the universe where the Garbhodak ocean is. And he couldn't find his source. Oh, frustrated, he goes back to the top of the lotus flower. And out of the blue, he hears tapa, tapa, which means austerity, austerity. So he underwent meditation for 1,000 years, calculated by the demigods. Long time. And when the Lord was pleased with Lord Brahma's very intense determination for austerity, he revealed himself to Brahma. Here I am. I am your source. And Brahma was so fortunate that the Lord spoke to him transcendental knowledge. And he spoke to him in just 4 very, very concise, potent, packed verses. And those verses are found in the 2nd canto, 9th chapter, texts 33 through 36. And from those 4 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma then, when it was his turn, after he now starts creating progeny and the planets and the sun, he creates everything. And one of his sons named Narada Muni. He has many offspring, but one of them is Narada Muni. So when it came time for Lord Brahma to reveal the knowledge that he had received from the Lord to Narada, he expanded on those 4 verses. And then Narada, in turn, instructs. So like that, he instructed Vyasadeva, he instructs so many personalities. And every time the Bhagavatam is repeated from one devotee to another, they expand on it. Not that because they're adding information. It's like you have a seed, right? Right? Abby, we're going to be planting seeds, and they're so small, right? I mean, how much information is in that little seed? Well, you'd be really surprised when you unpack the seed. You wait, 60 days, and you've got a 6-foot plant with thousands of green leaves and some flowers and some fruits or vegetables, whatever it's producing, all from this teeny tiny seed. So it's not that the agriculturalist added something. They're just unpacking the seed and letting it, right? So like that, the devotees expand the Bhagavatam, which is actually infinite, to their disciples. So here, Uddhava is marveling at his good fortune that Krishna revealed to him, spoke to him about Krishna's transcendental situation, is the word Prabhupada uses. And what is that situation? So that situation turns out to be his most intimate, confidential knowledge, which is, how do I interact with loving relationships with my devotees? You meet some guy on the street. Oh, hi. My name's such and such. What's your name? Oh, okay. Where are you from? Oh, cool. What do you do? Where do you live? Does that person, they're revealing, oh yeah, I live in, Picayune, or I live here, Does that person start revealing to you all about their love life?
Sometimes. They try.
It's not like they're just revealing all the intimate knowledge about their relationships and stuff, right? So like that, Krishna does speak the transcendental knowledge very nicely to Brahma, but he didn't reveal the topmost knowledge, which is his Vraj Leela. And Prabhupada says both Dwarka Leela and Vraj Leela. He didn't reveal the loving exchanges between he and his devotee. But with Uddhava, he did. And if we recall, Krishna's getting ready to leave the planet. But some years before this, Krishna sent Uddhava to Vrindavan to witness the mood of the Vrajavasis and their intense love for Krishna. He went to Vrindavan and he saw, because Krishna wasn't there, he saw their feelings of separation from Krishna. And they just kept on talking and talking and talking and talking and talking about Krishna. They couldn't stop remembering his pastimes. So Uddhava just sat there and he got to become privy to all these pastimes that Krishna performed in Braj. So Uddhava is obviously a very intimate devotee of Krishna. So Prabhupada made the point in the purport that the Lord's activities in confidential love are very rarely disclosed to the general devotees. I think we kind of qualify as general devotees. I don't know, maybe somebody in this room is elevated to being a confidential devotee of the Lord, but I think most of us fall in the category of general devotees. And Prabhupada said it's very rarely disclosed to such it's very rarely disclosed to such general devotees the confidential, loving affairs of the Lord. So, we're also extremely fortunate, like Uddhava. We're kind of like Maitreya, actually. Krishna was revealing to Uddhava this topmost knowledge, and he said it was only meant, Uddhava says, it was only meant for me. And Prabhupada then said, although Maitreya was sitting nearby, because he just happened to be in the arena, he became privy to it. But it's not that he was on the level of Uddhava, where the Lord wanted to give him, directly this knowledge. So we're also in that category of just having mercy fall into our laps undeserved. So Prabhupada came to the West, he traveled all over the world, he translated the Srimad Bhagavatam, wrote the Krishna book. Why? What did he do all that for? He could have just stayed in Vrindavan and done his bhajan.
Spread Krishna's name.
Yeah, to spread Krishna's name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes. He wanted to make us privy, just like Maitreya became privy by sitting close enough to hear Krishna and Uddhava speak. Prabhupada wanted to make us privy to Krishna's intimate, loving exchanges with his devotees. Because unless and until a soul becomes aware of the Lord's loving exchanges, what's going to happen? You're going to be attracted to love in this world. Because every soul is hankering for one and only one thing, and that is love. You can have all the great cuisine to eat. You can have $1 zillion in the bank, a big, big palace, fame and fortune, and what have you, good health. But you don't have love in your life? Then you just commit suicide, despite all those other opulences. So everyone's looking for love because that's what the soul is. The soul is nothing but a unit of consciousness, a unique unit of consciousness, which is only built or designed for the purpose of exchanging love. And if we're not exchanging love with Krishna, who's the source of us, then our love becomes perverted. It becomes directed in the different directions. If we're not loving Krishna, then where are we going to repose our love? It's got to go somewhere. You know, it's like, let's say you have a lot of pressure in your body, so it comes out, say, in a sneeze. But what if you block your nostrils? Okay, it'll come out in a cough. Okay, what if you block your cough? You know, you just block all the holes of your body. Where's that pressure going to come out? It's going to bust out somewhere. So if we're not reposing our loving propensity in Krishna, then we have to repose our loving propensity somewhere else. So we look for society, friendship, and love in this world. And that's what we're all running after, society, friendship, and love. And no matter how, quote unquote, successful we are, we don't find any satisfaction, true satisfaction. And if we don't find friendship and love in this world, then we go get a pet dog, you know, or a pet gerbil or something. Somebody to repose our love in. So we, the Krishna Consciousness Movement, are meant to teach people how to become happy by finding the proper reservoir to which we repose our love. And unless and until we repose our loving propensity in Krishna, we will continue to be frustrated, angry, depressed, you know, all these things. And we compete with each other, we exploit each other, we drop bombs on each other's countries. You know, it's just chaos. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches us, by teaching Arjuna, Krishna teaches us how we can come to that platform of having a loving exchange with him. Not just knowledge. See, Brahma got knowledge about Krishna's, you know, energies and how he's the creator and the maintainer and ultimately the destroyer and, you know, this thing. He got all this knowledge about God, but he didn't get this knowledge that Uddhava got. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has another intimate, confidential devotee that he's speaking to, named Arjuna. So when we go to the 11th chapter, the universal form, we learn how Arjuna had Krishna's universal form revealed to him. And Arjuna, being actually a intimate devotee, friend of Krishna, he wasn't too excited about that universal form. It was like scary. It was like too awesome. It just like knocked him over practically. And he was shivering. And he ultimately asked Krishna, oh, you know, thanks a lot for showing me that universal form, but could you like go back to your two-armed form? I want to see your two-armed form again. So Krishna agreed. So then Krishna says to Arjuna that this form of mine, this two-armed form of mine, that you're now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear. Now, if we recall, when Krishna was born in the prison house, Abhimanyu, who had Krishna imprisoned? I mean, his parents were imprisoned. Krishna was born in prison. How about that, right? His parents were in jail. So who was that demoniac personality that imprisoned them? Kamsa. So Krishna was born in jail. And while his mother was pregnant, the demigods understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to take birth from Devaki. So they all appeared in the prison house. And they were offering prayers to her womb, knowing that the Lord was inside the womb. And they were offering all these prayers. And Devaki was like, what's going on? She thought, you know, I'm just having a kid, right? I've already had like many births already. You know. Anyway, so the demigods are there offering all these prayers. But they were not allowed to be there when he took birth. They didn't see him, despite offering all these prayers. So Krishna is telling Arjuna here that this form that you're seeing, this two-armed Krishna form, it's very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are hankering like anything to see this form. But they're not successful. And why is that? Why aren't the demigods successful? They're like way greater than me and you, you know? We're like cockroaches compared to them. And they don't get to see Krishna's form.
They're not interested?
Well, they're obviously interested. It says that they are hankering to see it. They're hankering to see that form of two-armed Krishna. But they're not allowed to. Why? Because, as Prabhupada explained in today's purport, that this form of the Lord, his Leela, etc., is very rarely revealed to the general devotees. Why? Because their devotion is mixed with jnana and mysticism. So the demigods, they worship Vishnu. They are very much in the mood of awe and veneration. They're not rubbing elbows with Vishnu as best buddies. The demigoddesses are not, having conjugal relations with Vishnu. They are worshiping awe and veneration. And when there's a problem in the universe, he's their go-to man. They go to him to fix the problems. When the demons are attacking the demigods, they run to Vishnu. Oh, help us, help us. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, yeah, even the demigods can't see this form. Look how fortunate you are. So the next verse, that was text 52 of chapter 11. Then the next verse, Krishna says, the form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas. So there's many Brahmins who study the Vedas inside and outside and backwards and forwards and got the whole thing practically memorized. Guess what? Nice try, but you're not going to understand Krishna's form or see Krishna's form by doing that. Nor by undergoing serious penances, like the yogis can do, right? There's yogis that have been living in the Himalaya mountains for hundreds of years. And they're performing such incredible, out-of-this-world austerities. They don't see or understand Krishna's form, nor by charity. Oh, I'm a good person. I give so much away in charity, so God will be pleased with me. And, that's not how. Nor by worship. Oh, okay, I guess we'll close the temple. Don't worship the deities anymore. No, this refers to worship that is the formal worship, But there's no loving feelings. It's just all, awe and veneration. There's not like bhava there. Krishna says, it is not by these means that one can see me. And then he reveals the answer in text 54. That only by undivided devotional service. What does that mean, undivided? What do you think, Abhimanyu?
100% of all your energy and attention.
Yeah, single pointed. If I want to say I'm having a loving relationship with somebody and they insist that your love has to be undivided, like I can't have any other objects, it's like you're my only object of love. But here Krishna's saying undivided devotional service. It's not mixed with other things like karma and jnana and yoga. It's not splayed out in different directions. Only by ananya bhakti, undivided, pure devotional service, can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. So Prabhupada has very nice purports to these verses 52 through 55. You can read them on your spare time. But the purport is that only by undivided devotional service, and Uddhava had such undivided devotional service. He's one of Krishna's most intimate associates in Dwarka. And if we follow the path of Arjuna, which this is why Prabhupada gave us Bhagavad Gita. Why did Prabhupada give us Bhagavad Gita? So we could learn from Krishna's conversation with Arjuna how to become an intimate lover of Krishna. How to become so endeared to Krishna that he will reveal his the intimate knowledge about him. Because what is Krishna's real purpose in coming to this world?
To take us home.
Okay, that's one of his purposes, to take us back to Godhead. And he does it, and you're right, okay,
Attract us.
to attract us,
To
And now
liberate
you
conditioned souls.
I'm sorry,
To liberate conditioned souls.
liberate, yeah, he said. Yeah, this is correct, to attract us, to bring us back home, and how does he do that? What's his formula for doing that? How does he attract us?
Captures our attention.
It's
Yeah.
not only to spread the knowledge.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when he was here, his Bhoma Lila. Yeah, his pastimes. And what is it about his pastimes? He's not simply trying to attract us to him, he's wanting to attract us to his pure devotees. Krishna comes here to glorify his devotees. That is why he comes. And that's what's attractive. How does Krishna differ from all other forms of God, including Vishnu? He has his Madhurya Leela. Those are one of the 4 qualities that Krishna has that no other form of God, even Vishnu, has. His Madhurya Leela. Leela, which is sweet. Why is it sweet? Because it involves intimate, wonderful, loving exchanges, not just formal, giving benedictions and stuff like that. So this is why Krishna comes, to glorify his devotees, and he's revealing to Arjuna as he's revealing to us that he will accept us as one of his intimate devotees if we engage in unalloyed devotional service while we're here. So we'll stop there, see if there's any discussions. Ananda Priya?
Yeah, I was like, someone like Uddhava, could he actually become a resident of Braj if he wanted to?
Well, he prayed when he visited Braj, that, wow, I would like to be, able to receive the dust of the gopis when they walk through the grass and what have you. Make me a blade of grass so I can get the dust of their feet. But Prabhupada makes the point that he's an eternal Dwarka Vasi. So he has his constitutional position. He's not going to, just like Yashoda is not going to become, a cowherd boy or something. So Uddhava has his permanent constitutional position, but the mood, that's why he's the highest in Dwarka, because he actually appreciates the Vraj Baba. He's really privy to it, and he's like totally appreciating it.
But of course, when you said that, I was just, there are a lot of examples where a devotee is who he is, like Arjuna, but then he's apparently in Lord Chaitanya's Leela, or they have the ability to be.
Yeah, that's a little different though. That they don't change their position in
Right.
Krishna's Leela, but they
They're
also
not
can
somehow-
manifest in, say, Gauranga Leela or like that.
Right.
Yes, good point. Any other questions or comments? I thought maybe Raghava Pandit had a question.
He was asking me a question. Ask. Why are demons coming to kill Krishna?
Yeah. Well, you can we'll answer it on 2 levels. The first level will be because they're envious of Krishna, so they want to kill him because they're jealous that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They want to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So they want to compete with him, and the only way they can win is if they kill him. And then the other answer is Krishna likes to fight. Do you and your brother ever fight? Like, you know, get out the boxing gloves, or wrestle with each other? I bet you do, because you're boys, and boys do that. They like to fight. Just play fight, not out of anger or anything. But out of love, you'd like to fight with your brother, or he likes to fight with you, I bet. Because he knows he's going to win. So like that, Krishna actually enjoys fighting. It's a fun thing to do. So sometimes he inspires his own devotees, like Jai and Vijay, to come to the material world and play the role of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha and Shishupal and Dantavakra and Ravana and Kumbhakarna, so that he can have somebody to fight with. Because it's fun. Everything's for Krishna's fun.
Yeah, understood.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Okay, anything else? Narada Priya?
Anybody else? But, yeah, I was just wondering, you said that we're just like, we're like Maitreya, because it happened that he was there being privy to what Krishna was saying to Uddhava. So the question, you said that it was undeserved. So I was like, I always thought that somebody had to have at least done something to be able to be there at the right time.
There's
right.
two ways you can get that mercy. It's causeless. Causeless mercy means it doesn't have a source. It means mercy is eternal, just like Krishna is causeless, right? You ever get people who argue with you like that? Okay, so your father had a father, and he had a father, and he had a father, and go all the way back, and you come back to Krishna. Well, what caused Krishna? And I would say Krishna is causeless. He doesn't have a source. So bhakti is like that. Causeless bhakti or causeless mercy. They don't have a source. They eternally exist.
Right.
So how do we become a recipient of causeless mercy? Either we can quote unquote deserve it, or we can quote unquote not deserve it. So when we do something called a gyata sukriti, unknowingly do some devotional service, we do that a bunch of times, it builds up, and then we deserve causeless mercy. But another thing can be that a pure devotee just comes and out of their own volition, they distribute causeless mercy.
Is that because, like, I've heard bhakti is independent, it doesn't depend on anything,
Right.
so it's causeless. So just that's how it starts, the seed coming from someone who has bhakti.
And bhakti goes where her pure devotee who carries her goes.
And once you have that seed, at least it might be stunted for a while, but
It can never be
it's
destroyed.
guaranteed eventually.
Yeah, you can burn the agricultural field and actually burn all the seeds, but you can't burn the bhakti seed.
Because it's eternal.
It's eternal.
Yeah.
Once you got it, you're infected forever. All right, so we'll stop there. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Ki Jai.
Jai.